friends, hey, it's Tammy. I hope you had fun starting your first resin project or your first charcuterie board. I hope some of my tips and tricks helped you along the way. So today, what we're going to do is take our simplified design into something a little bit more high-end. So first, what we're going to do is start with some prep before we resin and add the items we would need to for the resin. So let's get ready. Come along for the ride. Okay, so of course, first thing we did was retaped our board and get it ready with fresh new tape and prepared for the next layer. So I'm just going to turn this, and I wanted to start with a couple of things that actually, let's see, I hope y'all are in frame. I think you are. I thought it would be fun to try. I've never actually used before, but I want you guys to understand that everything is only limited by your imagination, and you just, whatever it is you can dream to do, try it. That's how art grows and expands into new worlds of the art realm. So the first thing I'm going to try, normally this is just strips of gold flake, and I'll list all of my supplies that I can list in the description below, and I'll tell you also where I got the supplies that you may have to go to a brick and mortar to get. So this here I received on Amazon. It came in a pack of silver, the gold, and the rose gold. So, and it was rather inexpensive, and it's lasted me now for two years. This one bottle, the other two I have barely even touched. So, but it's because they're just crammed in here. Now your resin still has a tack to it, and it is only tack. I mean, it's set. Mine is actually a few days after my last video. I've let it sit here and rest, but it still is going to have enough of a surface to grab this gold leaf and let you lay it there, and it's not going to go anywhere. So I've got gloves on just because it will tend to stick to your fingers as much as it does excuse me, as much as it does anything else. And so I just am, with no rhyme or reason, laying it down pretty randomly, and thought that it would be fun. And whatever doesn't stick, I'll try to sweep off later. So I'm just trying to allow this, just giving some more dimension with some of those peekaboos of the glitter that we did on our first layer. So I'm just adding more, and this is harder to do than it looks. Now, if you want to, you can use some tacket from Aleene's, or some Mod Podge, or some gold leafing gilding, and I have all of that, but I think mine still has enough of a surface on there so that I can go ahead and lay this down without me fretting about it. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to move along with this piece and get ready for my next piece on my table, and I don't want to have to wait that long for the glue to set and get ready and so on and so forth. And so for me, I'm just laying this down, but for you, you may wish to do that. You just need to make sure that any product that you lay down on this is going to be completely dry before you put your resin on it. So I'm just tapping it down. And I'm just playing, y'all. Just playing. Just adding some fun. I'm using a silicone stir stick to kind of help guide me. This piece doesn't want to stick over the other piece of gold leaf because it's not the gold. That other piece of gold leaf is slick. It's not tacky like the resined area is. Okay. See, that looks quite fun to me. Okay. Let's see. I don't want to overdo this. I might do a little bit more of this up near the top here. And I'm going to put one more small place somewhere. I do like that. Maybe right in here. And don't be afraid to kind of fold it in half before you lay it down. All right, then I think I'm going to go this way. I'm going to take this glove off to kind of help me a little bit. You see what I'm saying? How it sticks to my fingers? It's harder to lay it down when it's your bare hand. Fun stuff, fun stuff. Awesome. I like that. Thanks. All right. Okay, so I think that's enough of the gold leaf. And some of the other things that I brought are some of these beads. These are kind of aqua-ish, a greenish aqua hue to them. I also have them in clear. And then I have a much smaller version here that I got from Laura's Art Corner. The bigger ones did come from Hobby Lobby. I got them out of the bridal section. I also have some the German glass glitter. This is really pretty stuff. Now you only want to use just a very, very little bit of this. And be careful. You just want to faintly spread this, sprinkle it on. It is glass, but it gives just enough sparkle for a very pretty shine. And so I also have some of these mica flakes, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use those or not, and it's not really the same color gold. And I'll probably have a little bit of my Van Gogh's glitter back on hand again, just in case I want to use some of that as well. I thought about using some of I had some of this in my art stash, and basically it's a Resin acrylic paint pen, and it gives you this fine little tip that you can literally put dots or paint with if you wanted to. But I think I've decided that I like kind of the natural elegance of where this is going, and this might be a little bit too much. So I think I'm going to try to keep it a little more simple and stick with just my stones and my gold flake. And oh, I forgot this, the star of the show, and some of my shell veneer. I just think this is so pretty and looks so pretty underneath of resin. I've got lots of different shapes and sizes here, and I'm going to place this on my board in lots of different areas, I suppose, and just see where it goes. Actually, let's go ahead and lay some of this down now, and then I'll just get my resin and all ready, and we'll let that set up for a few minutes, and then we'll put our beads and stuff on. So let's play with these. Let me take this glove off, and I can save this for my resin because I don't need this for what I'm about to do. Sure hope y'all are seeing all of this. I think you are. Okay. So these are from Laura's Art Corner. Mine came in a bag like this. I don't know how you say that. Poa shells, and they come in lots of different sizes of veneer that you can crush or break in half, and they just really give a lot of dimension and such as well. So these here I broke up a little bit more, and I'm just going to kind of set them down. I did some in a different color the last time. I think I used the blonde poa shell in my last one, and so I'm gonna just try to see if I can use a few of these. Not many, not much, just a few. Just to add a little something more. And this is just something that you can play with for hours until you're satisfied with it. And so I might just kind of give you the idea of what I'm going to do with this, and then finish laying them down, and then bring you back when I'm finished doing that, so that you don't have to be bored watching me do this. There's two sides. There's a side that's dull and a side that's more sparkly. So I like using the sparkly side. And I like using the shape of how my color is laid out more to my advantage, just so that I can have a idea. And I may not use all of this. More than likely what I'll do is I'll stop and take pictures, and if I like it, then I'll keep it there. If I don't like it, then I'll take it off and move it. And taking a picture of your art and looking at it from, stepping away from it and looking at it is really much more helpful. It really kind of helps you to decide whether it's balanced or Um, this can be cut with scissors or little jewelry pliers, or even broken with your fingers for that matter. Okay, guys. Now you have to be careful when you're doing this with your bare hands, because you don't want to lay down oils where your epoxy is going to repel from, and it could be easily done when you're touching your surface. And so I had actually cleaned my surface before we started with isopropyl alcohol, and here I am touching it again, trying to get this off. Okay, all right, so we're gonna call it. I'm gonna take a couple of pictures of it, see if I like it. If I don't, I'm gonna pull some of it off or put some of it on, and I'll be right back. Okay friends, we are back. I've gone ahead and mixed up my resin. I've also brought out my Van Gogh glitter that we used to line our board with, and I wanted to show you the consistency of it. This is how thick you want it. Just pour it just a little bit in your cup, and you can see that it's very thick. And this is the paste that you need in order to keep your lines from moving. And you don't want to heat this paste up because it will release the resin from the glitter and it will start flowing on the board. And so this is, in using this method with the glitter, this is an easy way to maintain where your glitter's gone, and probably one of the easier methods that I can show you. So with that said, I wanted to show you what that looked like. Now what I do is usually I take a piping bag, but this is just a regular old Ziploc bag. That's way too big for this particular task, but it doesn't matter. But I just stick it in my cup and I fold it over. And I just open that up. Okay, and then I just pour my glitter mixture in. And I just mixed this resin, and so it's still not as thick as what it could be before I use this. Or you can just put more glitter in it, but there's this particular glitter is one of Catherine at Dryer Days Art Studio. It's one of her sparkler glitters, which means there are multiple size cuts of glitter in this, and it really just makes it sparkle from every angle. So it can get caught up in these bags like this, as you saw on my first video. So I'm just going to discard that. I can reuse both of those if I wanted to, but today I'm just gonna get rid of it. So you see, I just pulled my bag down until that corner of my bag is resting on the bottom of the cup. And I'm just going to let this sit here for right now and let it thicken up a little bit more while we play with the rest of the things I'm going to do. So I decided to leave my shell veneer as it was when we laid it down. And let me see if I can, all right. And let me wipe my hands off here, make sure I don't have any glitter or resin on my hands. And I showed y'all the materials, what else I'm contemplating for this. But after I turned off the camera, I remembered that I had some of this fiberglass, and I thought, you know what, I can use some of this on there as well. This is 1/4 inch mirrored fiberglass, and it's different shapes, just like a glitter. The more different cuts and shapes you put on your things, the more spectacular it's going to be. So this is, I believe, Pacific Blue or Pacific Ocean, and I don't remember the brand. I got it from Walmart.com online. There are many places like Amazon, Barbecue Guys. They have a great selection. It's cheaper to buy 10 pounds and up than it is to buy it by the pound. But if you're only going to make 1 or 2 of these, then I would only get a pound. You don't need that much of the glass. You get a lot for your money. All right, so let's just play and see what we got here. So I was kind of thinking about putting a couple of areas, a couple of mounds where I can lay some stone in. And I'm going to try to stay away from the edge because I know that that could potentially be touched by a food source or something like that. And I just want to give myself a little bit of a margin. And so I'm just going to play here. Okay. Now, I think I can use a few of these little, almost like acrylic diamonds that I'm going to lay in on top, and they're going to just float around, and that's okay. I don't mind. I'll just pick them up and just throw them back on there. And these will actually be prettier if you lay them on once the resin is already on, so that they continue to sparkle. Okay. Now I could put a little bit of my German glass, just a little. I'm like, we're talking like that much. Do you see that? That's even a lot. So I'm going to dump a lot of that out. You can see how far it's going. It's so fine that it just goes everywhere. And I don't want it all over the place. I'm going to push this off, knock my things off here. Put these back on. Okay. And let me put and this is just based on your judgment, you know. There's no right or wrong to this. I'm just randomly putting stones in. There is nothing in that I can instruct you on here that you can't do yourself. Just put some stones down. So the colors are going to shine through on your don't forget, you want to balance things a little bit. If you have some over here, you want some over there. Okay. And I might put some more of those on. We'll see. Let's see, is there anywhere else that I want some of these? Maybe a few up here. This shell probably would have been better to go on after I had the resin on, so that it would have stuck, but I wanted to show you how I did this. And you can even use some tweezers to lay things down with if you wanted to. Okay. So I have my baggie here. I've decided I don't want to put any beads up here because this is my handle and I don't want to interfere with someone holding on to it. And so I may put some over here, a few. We'll see. I just want to dust my board off. I can see little pieces of that glass, that German glass. The German glass will kind of bounce off what you're putting it on, and it can spread pretty far. All right, so I want to get this to the corner. So I'm just going to squeeze this over to the corner. And I have way a lot of it in here. I won't use all of this. But it's okay, I can use it somewhere. That is no big deal. Now I'm going to take my scissors because I don't need all of this in my way. And I'm just going to trim my bag down considerably. And make sure you wipe your scissors off, okay? All right, and so then we're just going to take this and twist it. Now, making sure we've got everything pulled down. Go ahead and twist, twist, twist. Okay. All right, now I'm going to take and I'm going to over my cup, just in case, because if the resin isn't thick enough, it can squirt out at you. And so you want to make sure that it has some place to go if that happens. And so I'm going to trim. You see what just happened? That's what I'm talking about. Okay? All right. I'm just going to run over my area again here. Slowly and surely. There is no hurry here. Slow, even pressure. And there we are. Okay. Now I still have more than half of that left in my bag. So I'm just going to pinch that. I'm going to lay it to the side. And we may use some of that again in a little bit. Okay, I'm going to wipe off my scissors real quick. You'd be surprised what gets in contact with your scissors or with your resin too. I'm not even in my resin clothes today, so I'm praying that I don't get glitter on me. I'm in a dress. But anyways, it's okay. All right. Now, I've got my resin, and you can still see it's pretty fluid. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a little bit on my thing, and I'm going to start drizzling it lightly over my stones and my shell. And just a very light stream. And this will keep this in place. And eventually it will come out from under it. And if it looks wet, if the glass looks like it's wet, then you know it's been coated with resin. Now the shell just lights up when it's under resin. It almost magnifies that opalescent appearance, which is the prettiest thing ever. But going ahead and putting this resin in on your stones will let you build other things on top because it has resin on it without it going 10,000 places. Pull this over here a little bit. And having a thin stream helps as a way for you to be able to control it. I generally would like my resin to be a little bit thicker than this, and I'm going to be honest with you. You have to be careful where you hold your cup because that can happen. Let me wipe that up real quick. Still some more of that glitter. Okay. Now I'm going to take a few more of these and leave them in. See, they don't scoot all over the place when there's resin down. They pretty much stay where you lay them. Just don't put too many down at one time. You might have one or two occasional stragglers, but nothing huge. Okay. Let's see what happens with this. As little as you can put on your spoon. Okay. Okay. That's all of the glitter I'm going to do for now. I just got a little drip of some down here and I don't want to wear it, so I'm picking it up. My workspace is a mess right now, and you've ever seen my videos before, you know I'm a little bit of a working neat freak. I like my spot to be free of the clutter, so this out this way is from the other day when we did our first layer, but I left it sitting here. I'm just letting my resin sit a little bit longer. What I don't want to do is to push this resin out. Do you see how much it widened and spread? It's wider than what I want it to be, but it's okay. I think it'll be fine. Okay. This is self-leveling. All right, I think I've got it covered. Maybe one or two little holes here or there. Okay, so there we have it. And again, sky's the limit. Now, later on, I could decide that I want to go in and make some gold lines. I can just use a gold paint pen and paint in some thin lines. If I feel like there was some gold needed in this area or to extend this area, I could do that. And then pour another clear coat on top of that. It would be perfectly fine. You know, it just, but do know when to stop, because sometimes they can get a little bit too busy. But I like this. I like this one a whole lot. I think it's very glamorous looking, and I hope that you do. And I'll be back when this is completely cured, and we'll talk about what we need to do to finish it off. But for right now, my plan is for this to be my flood coat. And I really don't see anything in the way of bubbles, but because we did put glitter, because we do have this stone here, I want to go ahead and give it a spritz here and there. I like a real bubble-free. See a little spot right here. I got it. All right, I'll rub that finger around the bottom there. Okay, there it is. Now you're going to come back and check it about every 15 minutes for the first hour, and you're going to make sure you run your finger up under it, make sure you're getting any of those drips that it is taped under there, but it really helps to get it off without heat if you go ahead and just do this. It's really not that big of a problem. You want to look at it anyways, you know you do. All right, friends, this was a lot of fun, and I'll be back as soon as this is finished curing. See you soon. Good morning, everybody. It's Tammy. We did it. We are complete with our charcuterie design, and we are 12 hours, give or take a few hours, getting the second layer of our charcuterie done. Now, again, you can take this as far as you'd like to. 2 layers of epoxy on this type of project is really quite enough. I don't want to cover up the texture that I have by putting too much epoxy on this. And so I'm choosing to kind of leave mine. And I hope that it's given you enough of an idea of how far you can go, and some ideas and some inspiration on how to create one yourself. Now, any of these tips and all of the information that I've given you regards to resin, you really can apply to your other resin projects. And so just remember that when you're handling your resin, you need to wear your gloves, even if it's at this point, because fingerprints can be left, and because the resin is not fully cured, that fingerprint can become a little permanently attached to your resin. In this situation, you might have just a dulled area. So anyways, I'm going to stop chatting now, and we're going to get to the next phase. So what I generally do is like to go ahead and clean up my workspace. I'm just going to move my board out of the way for a moment, and I'm going to pick up my pieces, and these just peel right off just like that. Any resin that's dripped on your pyramids, just pull right off. Okay, and you can, some people like to save their resin pieces for other little artsy projects. Completely up to you, whatever you want to do at that point. But I'm just going to kind of leave myself a little bit of a cleaner working space. None of it's clean right this minute. Just drives me nuts, but it's okay. I'll deal with it. You can see here where I have some of the resin from my first. This is the reason why you always protect. I put down double layers of silicone mats and such, because I know me and I know that I'm not always the neatest. All right, so I'm going to let's see here. I'm looking for something to prop my board on. Here we go. All right, and so I'm going to go ahead and remove my tape here. It's hard to do with gloves on. I have a tractor working outside of my studio. I'm sure you are going to be hearing it. And the reason why I have this propped up is because I don't want my soft resin touching the surface under it and getting scarred up. I want to keep that crisp, clean. Take one of these gloves off so I can work with it. All right. Now, some of this tape, if you're frugal like me, some of this tape can be reused, and it didn't have resin on it, and so that's always a great thing. If by chance you are having a difficult time getting your tape off, you can take a heat gun and just warm that area up. Just warm it up. It doesn't take much, and it will lift right off. If it cools back down again and you're struggling, just heat it up a little bit more. And you don't want to overheat it. try to go in the direction, like if you have a curve here, turn your tape in that curve. You don't, at this point, your resin is still soft. You don't want to risk your resin getting torn. Okay, so at this point, I want to clean up a little bit of this. So you can use an X-Acto knife. And this is a very inexpensive X-Acto knife. You can actually use your fingers if it's still real soft. And you can pull off areas that you don't want here on the background. If you're having a hard time getting at it, you can, again, heat it up. And it will just go right through it. So just roll your finger around it. If there's anything that you see on there that you don't really want, just be careful. You don't want to scratch your finish. All right, and then the final thing, and it's one of the things that you do need to wear your respirator mask. Anytime you're sanding on your resin, you need to wear, these just pop right off and on. These need to be replaced depending on how much, as soon as you open the package for your respirator pieces, you need to, trying to get this one back on. Anyways, you need to make sure that you're replacing these every 3 to 6 months. If you're using resin every single day through the day, you probably need to replace these on a monthly basis or so. But as soon as these are open, the countdown begins, whether you're working with resin or they're sitting around your house. As soon as these are open and on your mask, you need to make sure that you're replacing these because they are automatically filtering what's in the air. Okay, they're not going to protect you if they're old filters. So I'm going to get my mask on for this next part. Then, if I can find my sanding block, it is right in front of me. All right. This is a very fine grit sanding block. You just want to buff the edge if you have any areas that are a little bit bumpy, and just smooth them out. Being careful at this point, you don't want to sand your board. You just want to sand those resin areas. Just use your fingers to feel along the way. But you don't want to be inhaling in this dust. Safety first. And sometimes it takes a little work. Do it until you're happy with the project. All right. And then you're going to just clean any of that dust off. Now that dust has gone over your surface, and so it's best to do this outside and always in a well-ventilated area. But anyways, guys, very simple. Very simple. And this is very organic looking. I think it's pretty. I really do. It's got nice smooth edges now. There's nothing lumpy or bumpy that could catch on anything. And I just think it's gorgeous. I'll take a few pictures. And this is going to be fully cured within 24 hours. But for me, I would generally wait 10 days before I shipped this if I was selling it, just to make sure that I have a very good cure, and to make sure that my resin is no longer soft. So I'm just going to do, once again, a final look, make sure there are no oil spots or what we call fish eyes. And a fish eye would be a round area somewhere in your resin work where the resin kind of repelled from and left a hole where the resin didn't go to or didn't cover. In that case, you probably had some sort of something like moisture or oil from your hands on the board or on the surface that the resin didn't like, and so it pulled away from it. In that situation, what you would want to do is just sand down the entire piece lightly. You would just do something very lightly, like scrub, 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 scrub. Wipe it clean, and then do another flood coat over it, just a very small flood coat, and make sure you cover the whole thing, because you'll never get it to look like it wasn't patchwork if you don't do the whole thing. And so for a more professional look, then that's the way you should go. But anyways, I hope it was fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember